Shalom Aleichem, everyone. Hope everyone had a wonderful, wonderful week. This week, worldwide, finally, everyone's reading the same exact psukim in the Chumash. As we begin the 3 weeks, we're all reading the same parsha, Parshas Pinchas. And in Parshas Pinchas, we have the Parshas HaKarbanos, the Karbanos of Rosh Chodesh, the Yomim Tovim that we read, the Regalim, Rosh Yom Kippur that we read as the maftir on each one of the Chagim. And as part of that, we also have the Karban Tamid. A little unusual that the Karban Tamid is in there as well, but that's one of the highlights of Parshas Pinchas. And Yeshivat B'Tammuz is on Thursday of this week, beginning the period of the 3 weeks. And what are the 5 things that we commemorate on Yeshivat B'Tammuz? Nishtabru Haluchos, the Chomos of Yerushalayim were breached, Sreifas Sefer Torah, a pesel, and Avodah Zarah was brought into the Beis Hamikdash, and of course the Bittul Karban Tamid. And if you ask me, if I think about these 5 things, the drama of these 5 things, I would argue that the most kal of them all was the Bittul HaKarban, the Bittul Karban Tamid. The Luchos broken, the walls of Yerushalayim are breached. That's the beginning of the end. Sreifas Sefer Torah, terrible, and an idol being brought into the Beis Hamikdash. But somehow the Bittul HaKarban is also enters into this list. And perhaps that's much more profound than we would think, especially as we many of us begin our summer break. Because when we think about these 5 things, especially the Karban Tamid, imagine for a second, Klal Yisrael in the Midbar already create the Mishkan, and that Mishkan is with them for those 40 years in Mishkan. They go into Eretz Yisrael, there's another Mishkan, the Mishkan Shiloh. And every single day, year after year, day after day, they bring the Karban Tamid. And then they build the Beis HaMikdash and continue every single day. They never miss a day of Karban Tamid. And then imagine for a moment, after the biggest, longest Cal Ripken streak imaginable, imagine they're already starting to be threatened, and now they no longer bring the Karban Tamid. That streak, what that does to a person. He's been going so long, the nation's been going so long, and now it's lost. That's a tragedy. That's a huge tragedy, and it probably does foretell the beginning of the end. Because once we lose that sense of consistency, then the Moadim, the Karbanos, is so beautiful, but without the Karban Tamid that is linking in, that turns those Moadim into part of the day-to-day avoda, that doesn't stand alone. The Parshas, the Karban Moadim, the Karban Musaf, the Moadim cannot stand by themselves. They're built on the Tmidius, the day-to-day, that famous Medrash, Ne'elam, that's quoted in the Hagdama of the Ein Yaakov, that everyone knows the most important pasuk in the Torah is, according to that one man Damar of Shem Ben Pazi, is bringing the Karban Tamid every single day, that day in, day out consistency. And perhaps that's an important message as we're all moving into a summer break, because the year is often defined, the school year, the yeshiva year, the college year, the work year is a day in, day out consistency. Everyone has their schedule, their routines, their avoda. And then oftentimes we go into that summer break and that routine, that consistency starts to fall apart. Not a good thing. The message of Karban Tamid, one of those messages of Yeshivat B'Tammuz is that daily consistency. And once you lose that sense of consistency, so 3 minyanim a day, that chesed every single day, that limud Torah every single day, you start to get the fractures in the fabric of what it's all about. And that's when ultimately the Beis HaMikdash starts to crumble. So we should be zoche, as we move into our summer breaks, to appreciate the value, the chashivus of the Karban Tamid that we bring every single day. That tmidiyus, that sense of consistency, that sense of regularity that is part of our day. It doesn't matter what's going on. We always have that sense of Karban Tamid. Have a wonderful Shabbos Kodesh.